Hello, hello. Hi, you beautiful people. Welcome to the stream today. I'm super excited to show you guys. I have tons of stuff ready today. Just want to go ahead and show you guys this overlay. You guys ready? Are you ready for this? Are you really ready for this? Oh, look at that. Isn't that amazing? So, we have a lot of great games today. From Fat vs. Ajae. I'm sorry that this has taken so long to actually get to. We've, both me and Bisu Dagger have been really busy. Bisu Dagger obviously just had a baby, so he's, you know, having to wrestle with his newborn. Not literally, figuratively. It's fine. He's not beating up his child. And meanwhile, I am in the midst of moving. I'm literally moving tomorrow. All of my stuff is packed up except for my desk, so it's been a really busy week. Lots of craziness going on, but it's gonna be good getting into the Fat vs. Ajae. So just to recap for you guys real quick what has been going on, and we're just gonna leave on this cool music in the background for right now, unless it's super obnoxious. You guys let me know in the chat. But just to recap the last 3 weeks. So on the first week, if you remember, we actually had a surprisingly close match that the Foreigner All-Star team actually won, thanks to a breakout performance from Bonnet versus Zeus. In the next week, they got trounced really hard, so a little bit unfortunate. The third week was a lot closer, but unfortunately Fusan was able to take the win over True Touch, and now we find ourselves in the fourth week. Luckily, we have managed to raise all $800 that we originally set up to raise for the event through the fundraiser, so good job to everyone who donated. Thank you so much for helping out. You can technically still donate if you want to. You can still go to Matcherino and donate. You'll find that on the teamliquid.net thread. Just as far as I know, all additional proceeds go towards the player. So even though we did reach that certain amount, you can always donate a little bit more. If I'm totally wrong on all this, that's totally fine. You can just let me know. Anyhow, let's go ahead and jump straight into the games. Now that that is over, I actually didn't mean to close that tab. I didn't want to close that. I didn't want to close that. That's my music for later. I gotta use that for the outro. Okay. Let me just make sure that is set up properly. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the first game, shall we? First game is going to be Eon Zerg versus Reach. It's going to be played out on Circuit Breaker. So let's go ahead and get right into that. All right, Circuit Breaker. Here we are in the top left-hand corner on the Foreigner All-Star team. It is going to be Eon Zerg in the orange Zerg. And on the bottom left, in the blue trousers, that is going to be Reach, coming back from quite a long time of just being away from StarCraft. I mean, I guess he's still been involved, but he hasn't really been actively playing it for a long time. And definitely one of the most famous older players in Brood War history, well known for just being a complete man toss, just kind of brute forcing his way through things. So we're definitely going to see some inventive and interesting play from him. Looks like he's going to be going for that Forge Fast Expand to start things off. Actually, he sends the probe back. That tells me that he's probably going to be going for a Gateway and putting out a lot of pressure with some man lots early on. I expect to see a Overpool coming out from Eon Zerg, but he may very well go for the 12 hatch. We'll have to see what he decides to go for there. It really just depends on how comfortable he is playing against Reach, if he thinks Reach is going to do an early pressure or anything like that. So there's the Gateway, as predicted. Not surprising at all. Here, 1 second, let me set up the chat. Okay, there we go. And Eon Zerg goes for the Overpool. Not surprising at all. You make the Overlord, then you make the Overpool before making any drones. Good stuff. Actually, a cross-map scout coming out from Reach. It's a little bit unorthodox, but the nice thing about this, so if you think about this, it actually makes a lot of sense. You go for the cross-map scout first, so that if you're going for the Zealot, you know that you can automatically, if they're cross map, you can just rally straight ahead and you don't have any problems. But if you don't know where they are, you know they're going to be in a close position. So now it's a lot easier to send his zealot in the right direction. He can honestly just send his zealot to the middle of the map and choose from there. It's just a little bit of a small little optimization that Reach has done here. Overlord's going to scout in, see what's going on. You see the natural coming out from Eon Zerg. Nothing surprising about that. He's going to be going for 6 lings. I wonder if he's going to be going for that early gas or if he's going to continue to go for the 3 hatch. He's actually going to all the way up to 8 lings, which is very smart when you scout this gateway first. You definitely need 8 to 10 lings to really hold this off very well. And if your opponent actually goes, wow, he picked off that probe, that's surprising. If your opponent actually goes for double gate, then you need a whole bunch of stuff, and actually you need to throw down a gas and a sunken at your natural as soon as possible. But this drone looks like it's going to be heading towards this third. I don't know if he's going to take the gas third or this close by third. Either one is pretty good. If you take the gas third, it allows you to obviously get ahead a lot more economically. But if you take the close to third, it generally means you're going to be going for a lot more early pressure. And just playing Ring Around the Rosie with these zealots, just trying to annoy them as much as possible while continuing to get damage down on this gateway. And once the third zealot comes out, oh, really nice surround on that zealot. That's a big deal. So even though the reason why that's a big deal is because it forces Reach to make another zealot, and that's just going to put him behind a little bit economically. This Nexus is kind of late because he's had to defend here and build up some extra zealots. So this is not going all that well for Reach right now, but he does finally have the 3 zealots out. He's going to be able to push these lings back. But the benefit of taking this closer third is you have a lot more closer reinforcements, and you can, it's much easier to just pull all of your Hydras right here and go for like a 3 hatch Hydra bust or anything like that. See if Eon Zerg has prepared to go for anything. Really late gases coming out from Eon Zerg. I wonder if that's just a response to making a ton of lings here. He's actually going to be going for 4 hatch before gas. This is very surprising, but considering the amount of damage that he done, it makes a little bit of sense. These 3 zealots are going to get up into the main, and the main thing that Eon Zerg wants to happen is he just wants to prevent them from getting behind here, because if you can wall this off with zealots, it's really annoying, really obnoxious to deal with. He's eventually going to be able to clean up at least that zealot over there. Luckily, his mining isn't really interrupted by this. Oh, really nice trick there to just kind of glitch the drones on top of these zealots and force them out of position. But he is going to lose 2 drones because of that, maybe even 3. So maybe that wasn't really the best decision. Oh, and it actually glitches through the mineral lines. The great escape. Oh, God. Meanwhile, back on Reach's base, he's going for that +1. He doesn't have a Stargate up yet, it doesn't look like. But he should be heading for one shortly. I'm really surprised that he doesn't have a Stargate. Usually you don't start +1 before Stargate, so to me that indicates he might actually be going for a +1 Zealot attack with speed off of 4 to 6 gateways. Yo, Julia in the chat, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in for Fat vs. Ajae Week 4. We're only on the first match. Yeah, so everyone is in pretty good shape. So we are going to be seeing that +1 Zealot attack, so this is a little bit interesting coming out from Reach. Definitely the Mantos way of playing this. And we've only just now got the gas from Eon Zerg. He's only getting his first 100 gas right now. So we'll see how he spends that. Honestly, he really needs to just go straight for that layer tech. Otherwise, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Good, there's the layer coming out right now. He doesn't know what his opponent is doing. He doesn't have much information other than the forge is spinning. Now, normally you would expect the Protoss to get a Stargate behind this. I'm not sure if there was money problems or if Reach just decided to go for that, or maybe like forgot that he was supposed to build a Stargate and build that. Maybe this was his plan all along. We're not really sure, but a lot of lings going down here unnecessarily without doing much damage to these Protoss units. I guess actually the whole damage here is not bad. We might actually be able to pick off all 3 of these zealots, maybe. No, not quite. He's going to lose all of his lings. That's really bad because that's a lot of his pressure. that he had out on the map. He no longer has that pressure now. And there's still no Hydra Den to speak of, so he's defending entirely off of the back of Lings. And I think just suiciding those Lings in there to get some damage and kill off a couple units was maybe not optimal. But the silver lining is whether or not he knows it, it has weakened this push coming out from Reach considerably. It's a little bit interesting that... Oh, okay, there's the 4th gateway. I was going to say it's interesting that he's going for a 3-gate pressure instead of 4-gate pressure, but there's the 4th gateway in the natural. And this is so unorthodox to go for this mass Ling style. If he gets really good surrounds on these Zealots before +1 finishes, that's going to significantly hamper this attack and make it a lot weaker. One annoying Zealot is going to go across the map and try to scout out, but there are already Sunkens in position, so that's not going to be a big deal. And at this point, I would say that Jan Zerg actually has a pretty big lead in the game so far. He's had a lot of AFK drones that he really needs to move onto the minerals, but and still no Hydra Den in sight. This is a very unorthodox style of play, but it's somewhat reminiscent of the older days when Zerg players were a little bit more keen to get aggressive with Zerglings early on, especially when their opponents wouldn't go Forge Fast Expand. Now, normally you don't actually get any value off of Zerglings in the early game against Protoss because Forge Fast Expand is so strong, and it's impossible to actually get anything done with Lings, but it's actually pretty strong against this particular style that Reach is going for. Reach is just going to try to go for this attack, and this might have been a huge mistake. This is a lot of Zealots, though. These Lings can't engage the Zealots straight on without the help of Sunkens, or else they'll just straight up die. +1 Zealots are pretty amazing against Lings, so it's not going to happen right now, but it looks like we might actually be going into the Mutiling style. This is a little bit uncommon, but actually very intelligent to go up against when your opponent doesn't have that Stargate. Instead, he's going to have the Templar, and he's going to have Storm up with an Archon, and at least 2 Storms, maybe. 1 or 2 Storms when the first Mutalisk hit, but this is a very nice response to a Stargate-less opening. This is a lot of Lings, but still, without +1 Carapace, they can't really engage. And it's still not... +1 Carapace actually hasn't even been started, so big deal there. Lots and lots of hatcheries, though, coming down for Jan Zerg. Looks like the Mutals are going to be coming in here right now for their first bit of harass. Oh, big Storm going down. That actually is going to weaken up those Mutals quite a bit. They're going to try to kill off this cannon, but there's really very few Mutalisks left in this ball, so probably not going to be able to do much more damage at the moment right now. But honestly, it looks as if Reach might actually be gearing up for another big attack. This is Knights getting here on top of the High Templars. If he kills both High Templars, that's a really big deal, but the dance is becoming real. He picks up both the High Templars, so this is just a pure Zealot Archon army, and that's significantly weaker than it would be. Still, Zealot Archon is pretty good against Lings, especially without that +1 Carapace. He's going for the +1 missile range right now. Sorry, +1 missile attacks. Nice little egg blocks with these hatcheries. This is actually really nice SimCitying coming out from Jan Zerg. And hopefully he has some Hydralisks out on the way. This force has been pushed back for now. These Mutals really need to be careful. They don't want to take any splash damage from these Archons, but lots of Lings going down, more Lings being created, and the Hydras are out right now. So they are going to be able to push this back. Jan Zerg in pretty much full control of the game, so much so that he actually just takes the 4th. He's pretty confident in his chances right now. Sniping those High Templar was honestly the money play. That has put him in a decisive lead in this game, but Reach is just pumping units. He's going to go in for another attack. This seems crazy, but Reach is the type of person that would do something like this. Say, all right, you're on pure Hydraling, sorry, pure Mutiling. That's fine. I'll just continually ram into the front with Zealot Archon and trade better. So pretty cool stuff coming in now, but there should be Hydras coming out of these hatcheries now, so that should definitely give Jan Zerg the edge in these fights. And he's actually going to be going for a big counterattack with this Mutiling force, and Reach is out of position. He's trying to get back here to deal with this, but all these cannons are going to be going down. Let's see if Jan Zerg tries to snipe the Nexus or if he's just going to trade for probes. Looks like he's just going to trade for probes and run away. This is really nice, saving these units for later because... Oh, and being able to pick off this probe with the 4th, that's a pretty big deal as well. Wenzel over here just being really annoying, but it's going to get cleaned up pretty easily. But saving these units is a big deal because it allows him to go for a counterattack anytime now. Anytime Reach tries to move out on the map, he's going to take big damage over here. So, very obnoxious to deal with right now. Here comes the counterattack again. But there are units in position. This may have been a mistake, but Morling's wrapping around from the side. And Janzerg really wants to get this harassment in. He really wants to pick off some units. He's actually going to pick off one of the High Templar, 2 of the High Templar. Is he going to be able to pick off a 3rd? Oh, so close, so close. Everything goes down to a storm. But still, again, more High Templars being picked off. And the more High Templar you pick off, the more value you gain from these Hydralists, the more value you gain from Lurkers coming out eventually. So I think actually Janzerg might actually be gearing up for a big Hydra attack. He doesn't seem to be going for that hive play right now. He's not just teching up madly, so it looks like he's actually just going to be going for the big Hydra play. And if you get a really good concave on this ramp, as well as sending some units down on the low ground, you can actually get a really impressive engagement on this 3rd base and kill it off. I believe Sulky did that against Bisu, if I remember correctly, in the ASL. Oh, sorry, it was Best. It was Sulky versus Best. Sulky did a very incredible, gigantic surround on this 3rd base on Circuit Breaker and managed to actually break it with pure Hydra versus a bunch of gateway units, including Storms. So we'll see if that's the plan for Janzerg right now. He's just gathering up his forces and getting prepared to move across the map. But Reach, definitely looking for a fight back of his own. He's going to be moving out across the map with a ton of units. Very few Templar. The Templar are lagging behind. But Janzerg is already in position. He's got the high ground on this ramp over here, and he's got a group in the back that is going to be flanking as well. So as long as he continues to micro his units really well and not get hit by too many storms, he's going to be in pretty good shape. There's a lot of Hydras here, and this is really close to the reinforcement path for Janzerg as well. Good storm dodges. Meanwhile, some more units coming in from behind, and they're going to be able to snipe a couple more units and just pressure on both sides from Reach. But really good storms on top of these Hydralists, definitely going to be able to kill off a lot of them, but the 4-base economy is in full effect for the Zerg, so Janzerg should be able to push this back as long as he's controlling his units really well. He really needs to pull these units right now and start moving them across the map, maybe paying a little bit too much attention to the micro on these frontal Hydralists. Meanwhile, 4th base is getting established for Reach. Reach is going to be going into the late game, and we may see a hive coming up pretty soon. I'm really surprised that Janzerg is staying on this hive tech, just going really heavily into lair tech units. And another attack coming in right here. The high ground is being held on top of this ramp with the Hydras again, and some more Hydras wrapping around again. So this is going to be held off again. There are a couple more storms coming out, and with good storms, definitely this could be beaten. But a really good storm coming out right now. It's going to force these Hydralists forward, but they don't have a problem walking forward right now. There is all kinds of Zerg flooding through, and very good retreat storm again, but too much Zerg coming through, and with a reinforcements, it looks like the reinforcements are already on the way. This 3rd base could definitely be broken with good micro. But another money storm manages to thin out these numbers just enough to keep the Zerg from pushing directly in. Janzerg still looking for blood. There isn't a ton of units, but the remacro of Zealots is going to be here. That's going to be able to push this back right now. He really needs to get those extra Lurkers up right now and engage this with the Hydra Lurker. He's got to watch out for his units, make sure he doesn't lose too many. Meanwhile, behind this, gas is up at the 4th base, 5th base going up right now, and big attack coming in here for Reach again. He's going to just walk right on top of the one Lurker that's down. He knows there isn't really all that much right there. So he's actually just going to be able to push this back with pure Zealots. And this is just the mistake of not having Lurkers on time. If he had Lurkers before pushing across the map, then Janzerg would be in a much better position than he is right now. But right now he has 0 Lurkers, and this is a huge Protoss army. Without Lurkers, it's going to be very hard to deal with this many Zealots. Meanwhile, still no hive tech. We're not seeing that come out right now. Are we seeing anything special coming out from Reach? Looks like he's just going to be getting his upgrades as he's pushing across the map. Very Reach-esque. He's just going to be focusing on all these gateways and just being super manly, pushing across, even getting shield upgrades. It's very rare that you actually see that, but he's got the +3 attack. This is actually so scary. Tons of units flooding in right now, and the Zerg units are actually caught on each other for right now. the SimCity isn't that great. Lurkers are going to be coming down right now and trying to thin out these numbers, but great Storms so far. Storm actually hits both of these Lurkers. That's very annoying, but this is eventually going to get pushed back. I don't know how many Storms left. A good Storm could definitely kill the entire Zerg army trying to walk up this ramp, but for right now, Jan Zerg is held. He's lost his 5th base in the process. Looks like he wanted to expand on the high ground over here, but it's very vulnerable, especially since the Zealot's already been sent up there. Meanwhile, Reach establishing his 5th base down in the bottom right-hand corner, while still continuing to mine. He's still got a pretty healthy saturation. Actually, I take that back. His natural is almost completely mined out. His main is going to be mined out soon pretty well. So we're in a situation where both players are starting to get mineral starved. And these 5th and 6th bases are going to be very, very important to establish. But Jan Zerg moving across the map right now, he's just not doing a great job of controlling his army en masse. Lots of units. He'll move out across the map and leave a ton of units just sitting at home, etc., etc. So just a little bit, you can definitely see Reach's army control is a lot better. He's doing a good job of using, moving his army across the map and keeping them together more or less. This is one of those times where I honestly think adding in a few mules would definitely help. Just add on a few mules to snipe the High Templar, but these just Jan Zerg just not in position, and all these units are just going to be able to get into the 3rd base right now. And definitely he's stuck on this ramp against Storms. Tons of Hydros coming, or tons of Templars coming out right now, and there's no way that Jan Zerg is ever going to be able to get down this ramp. This is 100% a dead base as long as Reach doesn't push too heavily up into this ramp. He's going to be killing off a ton more of these Hydros. Not doing a very good job of target firing this hatchery, but this is still a huge money play coming out from Reach. He's got to get the next Storm now. These units are actually going to clean this up before he kills the hatchery. Never mind, there goes the hatchery. And some more Storms are going to be able to kill off quite a few units, and this is a big loss for Jan Zerg. He's going to try to fix it up by repopulating this space over here, but more and more units just stream across the map, and Jan Zerg doesn't have the answers to it right now. All he has is just a couple of units that are just being rallied in and dying constantly. He's going to try to clean up and save this base up here, but these, with the observers over here, that's definitely going to be able to clean up. And there's the GG, Jan Zerg just falling to the pressure of Reach, and also there was looks like a drop in the main as well, so just Reach putting it in full gear, being a full man toss, and completely wrecking Jan Zerg in the mid to late game. And I feel like a lot of that had to do with Jan Zerg just not taking to the hive early enough, not having the lurkers and the tech that he needed to deal with it. He's focusing way too much on low economy units and not microwing his large armies properly. So that's going to be all that for now. We're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to come to Game 2. Alright, welcome back, and we're going to be going straight into Game 2 of the series. Unfortunate loss there for Eonzer, just not having the proper units in time. So we're going to go into game 2. This is going to be on Fighting Spirit, Firebat Hero versus True Touch. Let's get ready. In the top right-hand corner of this overly played map, we're going to be having the Brown Protoss. That is going to be our true friend. Actually, this isn't Firebat Hero. What am I saying? Was this Firebat Hero? If I checked the stream earlier, and I'm pretty sure it said Firebat Hero. Maybe Firebat Hero was off racing. If chat could correct me on that, if chat knows anything about that, just let me know. For right now, we're just going to pretend that it's Firebat Hero off racing, because I honestly don't know. And in the bottom right-hand corner, in the yellow, it is going to be True Touch, see if he can avenge his Zerg brethren. So we're going to have another ZVP. We're going to have to see if we have the same sort of opening for the Protoss, or if we're going to have a bit more of a standard Forge into Corsair opening. By the way, the stream is running, right? Just let me know in the chat. I haven't seen anybody chat in a long time, and it's been a little bit sad to hear nothing. I need you guys. You guys are important to me. So both players scouting in the wrong direction to start off. A little bit unfortunate, but where is this probe going? Where is? I guess that was just a misclick. That was pretty. Oh! I see. Okay, so it's there to check for the Overlord. If the Overlord is going down on either side. So this is an interesting scouting pattern. You see this on Circuit Breaker, where vertical scouts are pretty common, but it's less common here. So pretty interesting. I have no idea how he actually managed to figure that out, but I guess that'll do. And meanwhile, we do see the overpull coming out from True Touch. Pretty standard stuff. Wow, cool stuff. Forge stuff coming out, as well as the Nexus. So really nice opening for Protoss so far. Managed to get a nice scout on, got the Forge and the Nexus out, and actually delayed this hatchery over here for quite a long time. We're gonna go into the 6 Zergling opening. This is becoming less common nowadays, but it definitely forces the Protoss player to be a little bit more defensive. And yeah, this gateway is gonna have to go down. He may have to pull an extra probe down here just to block long enough for the photon cannon to get up, but never mind. Looks like the photon cannon is actually gonna finish on time, and we're gonna take the close by third again. Again, this signals to me that True Touch is looking to go for some heavy pressure early on. Here's Beichan Bayol. Beichan Bayol. Let me just check the fish Liquipedia article, because that will help me out, but this is not a person. Bayol. Yep, that's not a person. So we're just gonna have to live with the fact that we have no idea who this Protoss player is, and we'll just say that it's Firebat Hero off racing. So Cybernetics core coming down. We're probably gonna be seeing the Stargate coming out off the back of that. Unlike Ian Zerg, we're not going to have that crazy, heavy 4-hatch before gas type of play. Instead, we're just going to have a pretty standard going for the lair first and heading into the Spire, most likely. If he kills off this probe early on, you can definitely throw down an earlier Hydra Den and go for a 3-hatch bust, or even just before the lair finishes, you can put that down and go for a much stronger 5-hatch Hydra push. But it really just depends on what you want to do. Not even 5-hatch, but 4-hatch Hydra. 5-hatch Hydra, you need those extra minerals, so. Looks like another pause, more lag issues, but luckily we're casting from a replay, so that doesn't affect us at all. Yeah, Yeah, if you guys will excuse me, every once in a while I just need to like tab out and make sure stuff is working. I wish there were a setting in Brew War where the sound were just always on. That'd be really nice. It'd make my life a lot easier, huh? I think we can actually even turn up the sound a little bit. We can turn up the in-game sound. I usually keep it really low because I don't like hearing loud noises when I try to play. But we are going to be having the +1 come out, +1 air weapon, so this is going to be a pretty heavy investment into Corsairs early on. And that just means that Firebat Hero Off Racing, we assume that's who it is going to be going very heavily into air control. And a little bit surprising to go for this faster Citadel of Dune and a later Corsair. Very unorthodox to see right there, but we should see the Spire coming down for the Zerg player. Indeed, there it is. Meanwhile, just a couple Lings searching around the map for any sort of probes that are out on the map, or any sort of scouting zealots, etc., etc. A couple more cannons coming down here just to be ultra safe. And meanwhile, we're just going to be seeing a slow build-up. First Corsair comes in, it's going to be able to scout out this 4th hatchery, see this Spire coming down. That's not unusual to see at all. But no units back at home to deal with these first couple of zealots. Luckily, a couple of Lings pop out just in time, so they're eventually going to be able to do this. But really nice job from Firebat Hero Off Racing to send a zealot into the main and force a reaction out of that. Not quite the best micro from him. It looks like he was trying to micro the zealot in the natural. But he does kill off one of these drones. Maybe in a second? No, not going to be a second. Both the zealots just being annoying and forcing out a few Lings, but that's the sort of timing that you usually get Lings anyway, so it's not a huge deal for Zerg. But of course, as always, you always want to be, as a Zerg player, you always want to have as many larvae go to drones as possible, because that's just ideal, you know? Hydralisk Den coming out right now immediately starts the Hydra speed, and one of these drones is going to be going down, maybe even the second one. These just individual zealots all across the map just being really annoying, and True Touch losing control of his units just a little bit. These Scourge should already be on their way to the Protoss base to scout out and maybe pick off a couple of Corsairs, but just playing ultra defensively here. I don't know, maybe this was a planned move to send his Scourge over here, but to me it looks like he lost them. I could be totally wrong, but we'll see. Going up to the 6 hatcheries, it's a little bit uncommon to go up to 6 hatcheries, but that usually indicates that you're not going to be going too heavily into the Hydralisk early on. Or it may just have been that True Touch had some extra money lying around. Either way, he's going to have a lot of production up pretty soon, and more of these Corsairs are going to be coming out. Looks like we're going to go up to at least 6, maybe 7 or 8. And so far we've got 4 gateways plus the 2 out here, so that's at least 6. We're not going to be going up to 7 or 8, so 6 gateways is still pretty strong. A couple of these Corsairs going down to the Scourge though, so that's a little bit unfortunate. And again, just Zealots just walking into the bases. This is so strange, because usually Zerg has some sort of units by now, but True Touch just feels like he's been behind all game long, and losing another Overlord. He's been supply blocked again. And this is really not good. I feel like he was supply blocked earlier. Maybe that's why he has no units and built that 6th hatchery. But right now he's in a dire situation because the longer he waits to rebuild these Overlords, the worse shape he's going to be in. And the first couple Overlords now popping up, I don't think he realized that he was supply blocked all that time. A little bit sloppy from True Touch. Definitely not the best play that he's ever done. 3rd base coming out now for... Yes, I know it's not Firebat Hero. Well, I'm trying to figure out who this is, because if I was told that it was Firebat Hero, I don't know who this is. And the fish AKAs on Wikipedia, that page doesn't have this person, so I don't know who this is. You can let me know, DeWalt. That would be really, really helpful. So first couple of Templar are out right now, and once the Templar count gets high enough, it's going to be very difficult to actually break this with any sort of Hydralisk play. Honestly, at this point, I think True Touch should have already been going toward that high, but you can see his APM is actually sunken really, really low. It's down in the 170s. I wonder if that's just him tilting really, really hard, losing more and more of these Overlords to the Scourge. He can't seem to protect his Overlords really well, and this is the point where, yeah, you just make Spore Colonies. You have to go ahead and make the Spore Colonies. It sucks because you're already low on supply, but if you can't protect your Overlords, then what's the point of even playing this game? And right now, our... Oh, this is Reach again? Yeah, Reach was in first match. The first match... Oh, sorry, it was Reach and Eon Zerg. Sorry, I'm like looking over the chat way too quickly. Yes, you're totally right. Just ignore me talking, but listen to me because I'm commentating. Anyhow, so right now Protoss is in pretty much complete control of this game. We have tons of High Templar with tons of energy at both the third and the natural, and it's going to take a miracle for True Touch to actually get any sort of damage done with this first attack. This Hydralisk attack is probably about, I would say 5 minutes late. Like, it's that drastically late. It's really, really bad. And as a result, he's going to have a hard time getting any damage done. If he gets some sort of miraculous attack and manages to kill off all the units that break this natural, then maybe he can come back in this game. But right now, it's looking pretty bleak for our Zerg hero. Still no Hive coming up. And that's a pretty big deal because with no Hive, he's going to be behind. He's just going to be entirely on Hydralisk versus this gigantic Gateway army with Storms. That's no good. That's not going to work. A couple of units blocking here, which is pretty funny. Wait, sniped off 2 of those High Templars, so really well played. And meanwhile, just trying to get as much damage as possible in right now, but he is hemorrhaging units and losing more and more Overlords to these Corsairs. These Corsairs have just been so annoying this game. It's 134 supply to 78. The Protoss is actually doubling True Touch in supply right now, and this is not where you want to be as a Zerg player. As a Zerg player, you want to be up in supply at this point in the game, but it's just True Touch got put so far behind earlier with those Overlord snipes that he's just desperately trying to get some sort of damage in. This is a lot of Lurkers. I'm a little bit surprised to see this many Lurkers, but it's potentially, with good placement, you can delay for a really long time with these Lurkers while you get the Hive Tech going out, but still, the Hive Tech hasn't even started, and more Hydralisk bleeding off. Luckily, there is no 4th base for the Protoss at the moment. I think a higher caliber of a Protoss player may have already had a 4th base, maybe a hidden one over here, but just focusing on gathering up the units and pushing back these units. True Touch has done more than I thought he would, but still 90 supply down to 155. That's a really, really horrible situation to be in. And observers are out now too. Last upgrade is coming in, or I guess that's just +2 rather. And this is starting to become pretty dicey. Without Hive Tech, there's no way you're going to be able to actually break this army unless the Protoss player horribly miscontrols. The fortunate thing is True Touch does have the advantage of having map control right now, so he's not worried about that 4th phase coming up at this particular moment in time. He's going to try to sandwich this army with the Lurkers. This may be a questionable move considering all of the scary units, all of the Zealots are in the front, and huge storms are going to blanket all over these Lurkers. All the Lurkers down, all of the Zerg units are down. There's a couple more reinforcements, but this army is gigantic. 154 supply to under 100, only at 66. This is looking rough for True Touch. He's going to continue to try to kite back and micro, but the Protoss army is honestly just gigantic at this point. A couple of units being left behind and forgotten about here and there, but as long as the Protoss player can just put together all of his units and just go for the throat, he can definitely just straight up win this game. But we're going to have another lull where it's going to allow True Touch a chance to rebuild, but again, no Hive Tech. This is a big deal. You really... You have to take the chance and at least take a 4th or go for hive tech. You can't continually just ram army against army over and over and over, because this isn't going to work. And huge storm blankets a lot of those Hydralisks, and there are more Protoss units than the Zerg units right now, so you do the math. You do the math. You see how that comes out. It's not going to be pretty for True Touch moving forward. He's going to try to go for a counterattack, but good patrol here back and forth is going to be able to stop this detonate strikes. Unfortunately, loses a High Templar off of that, but more and more units just being hemorrhaged by True Touch, and he's in dire straits yet again. Very smart to place a Protoss over here, just scout out these other bases, make sure nothing's going down, and now comes out the fourth base for the Protoss player. He's going to be getting that pressure coming out on the map. Meanwhile, small counterattack coming up here. Some units did manage to slip by, so that's really nice. But again, really nice patrol coming out from the Protoss player. Just being able to go back and forth and sense where the Zerg is going to be going next. Meanwhile, True Touch, he's still just making tons and tons of units, and eventually he is going to run out of money. He has no gas in his bank right now. His main is kind of doing okay, but it's slowly mining out. His natural is going to mine out pretty soon. Protoss is a little bit more mined out, but honestly it doesn't matter, because when you're almost maxed, it's not really a big deal. Almost maxed versus 88 supply, it's rough. Another attack coming in by True Touch, but he's just going to walk into a bunch of blanket storms and just get wrecked. This army is going down. All the lurkers are dead. The rest of these Hydras are going to be going down pretty soon, and there's nothing to really stop this. And I would like to see just a push forward, but it seems like the Protoss player is a little bit nervous because there are no Zealots in this composition. He really needs to remake a couple of Zealots so he can push in and go for the throat. Honestly, he could have won a long time ago, but it looks like he's just going to be going for the safer play. Just expand macro out, wait for your opponent to starve out. And this may be a little bit too passive. Maybe he just doesn't realize how far ahead he is. Or maybe he's just playing with his food. I'm not entirely sure, but more Hydras just going to be sitting under storms. A lot of them go down. And there's the GG True Touch. Not being able to keep up with his opponent. He really needed to take that fourth base earlier, or at least just try to go for the Hive Tech earlier. Just slamming units into units, 3 base versus Protoss, it's never going to work. You're never going to be able to trade that efficiently. So unfortunate to see that, but that's going to put Team Ajae up 2-0 in this series, and it's looking pretty bleak for the Foreigner All-Star team. They're just not quite playing on the same level that they normally play on. So we're going to take a quick break for a minute and a half, and then we're going to come back to Game 3. Hopefully the Foreigner All-Star team can come back in the series and make something out of it. Oh god. All right, we're back. Unfortunately, didn't look like my timer actually worked, so just brought us back a little bit early. We're going to be going into Game 3 of Fat versus Ajae. The next one is going to be Kinsey versus Nalra. I don't know a lot about Kinsey, but I'm looking forward to this match a lot. I think this may be the turning point in the match so far. We're 2 down for Team Fat. Let's see if they can pull it back. All right, and probably the most important match of this series, it is going to be Nara versus Kinsey on match point. In the top right-hand corner, our Zerg player, Kinsey, in the brown. And in the bottom left-hand corner, another one of these old staples in the scene, blue Protoss player, is going to be Nalra. And Matchpoint is always one of those really weird maps because it has tons of open space. This main is gigantic, and there's tons of drop space all along this area. And then there's also the natural mineral line right here. So you can do annoying things with things on the low ground. It's another drop target as well. There's some dead space over here that can be really annoying for Reaver drops and things like that. And at that same token, it's also very annoying to deal with Mutalisk right here if the Zerg player happens to go for that. So we'll have to see what Kinsey decides to do, or if he decides to just go for a standard sort of Hydralisk Lurker play. I don't think Hydralisk Lurker play is that great on this map, just because it's very difficult to break these natural and third bases. They're all pretty much on the ground, like on the side of the map, and they're all guarded by these fairly small ramps, so it's difficult to do that. You can put lurkers on these ramps to slow down pushes and things like that, and the lurker Hydra is obviously pretty good in the middle of the map, but other than that, it's not all that great. But I think we're actually going to be seeing a Nexus first come out of Nalra. Pretty ballsy play. Wait. This is not from Fat versus Ajae? I was sent these by Bisu Dagger. So if these aren't actually from Fat versus Ajae, we're just gonna pretend that they are. Because I don't have the other replays. This was what I was sent by Bisu Dagger. So I put together this really nice production, and then we don't have the right replays. This is, oh, it's a nightmare. But we're gonna pretend like it's still part of the series. Anyway. Oh God, you guys, why you do this to me? No, it is from Fat versus Ajae. Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. Thanks, chat, for being on my side all the time and giving me all kinds of stress. Anyhow. Oh my gosh. Oh, True Touch's game. Okay. So we're going to be having actually 2 hatch with gas coming out already. I actually didn't mind that the gas is just a little bit early, so not that out of the ordinary. I always get thrown off by this. I'm like, oh wait, there's a 2 hatch gas play? What, are we gonna see 2 hatch mutas? What? But it never happens. It's just because Zerg players are a little bit slower to send that drone out. Gets you a little bit more minerals in the long run. You don't place it right at 100 or 300 minerals. It's a little bit later, but it's not a huge deal because you're still getting that extra mining in the early game, and it makes up for the fact that you're getting the larva a little bit later. So a little bit of pressure coming out from the front, but it wasn't able to do anything. It did force a small probe pull. I'm a little surprised he sent the probes back to his main instead of the natural. But whatever works for Nalra, whatever he likes to do, because he's allowed to do whatever he wants. This is a game about choices. You make the choices you want to make. So the lair is coming out pretty standard stuff and picks off the probe, so no more scouting information in the Zerg main. Unfortunately, you did throw down that lair already. If you manage to kill off the probe before you make the lair, you can definitely adapt and go for that 3 hatch Hydra bust, but with it being in there already and seeing everything that's going on, it's not going to be all that great. And I'm going to miss the secondary probe scout coming out. This is a little bit unfortunate. This is one of those things you have to be expecting as a Zerg player. And maybe he just missed it on the minimap as it walked by his overlord. I'm not entirely sure, but Nara is actually just going to go ahead and scout out the third base and find out where the third base hatchery has actually gone down, if it's gone down in this position or in the corner position. He's going to find out pretty soon. Ah, it's got to be in the corner. In the corner, you guys. But smart idea to just leave one Zergling here in case the probe does go out there to scout it. Spire coming up right now. That is going to be for those early Scourge, just to push back any Corsairs that might come his way. And we do see the Stargate going down, as well as the Cybernetics core researching that +1 air weapon. So we're going to go up to 5 or 6 Corsairs again, get huge control of the skies. Hopefully, Kenzie doesn't take as much damage as True Touch did, and we'll stay even in supply and not lose too many Overlords and get supply blocked for years. Little curious to see the robotics facility coming down before the Citadel. That's definitely non-standard. And he may try to go for that Corsair Reaver follow-up. That's going to be exciting. And like I said, this is one of the maps, if you're going to do Corsair Reaver, this is one of the maps to do it on, just because you have so much drop space and a couple of Scouting Zealots out on the map right now. It's so unfortunate this Zealot is at 11 health and didn't quite kill it off. Oh, he killed off one of them, so that's pretty nice. The other one's pretty low. So I guess it's not too much of a loss. It'll be fine. It'll be fine, right? It's fine. It's fine. So where are those Scourge? I feel like there should be Scourge on the way. There's the Scourge. Okay. So we're in good shape. Meanwhile, we're going to be having the first Corsair pop out. It's going to go scout. Still no robotic support bay. It looks like there it goes right now. Wait. Holy crap. Okay, we're going to be going really heavy into the Corsair Reaver. This isn't like a Corsair Reaver and like, you know, expand and like kind of get some gateway units, and this isn't like a balanced approach. This is like all in Corsair Reaver. This is like I'm going to put like 3 shuttles with Reavers, okay? Like that's the kind of play this is. So definitely going to be seeing a lot of airplay in this game. Going to be going probably up to about 8 to 10 Corsairs, maybe even more if he decides he needs it. Just because it's going to be a pretty big deal. He's already blocked off the probe inside this mineral line, so he's going to be able to bunch up his Corsairs really nicely and deal with any sort of Mutilus shenaniganry and just micro much better. Overlord speed already coming out on the way, and very nice play so far with these first couple Corsairs, but he is going to take a little bit of damage from that. I don't think these are... Oh, really nice flank with those extra Scourge. That was really nice, and not paying attention, losing at least two of his Corsairs and badly damaging one of them. This is really not what you want to be doing when you're going for the Reaver Corsair. When you're going for a Reaver Corsair, you really need every single one of those Corsairs in the early game, because you can't do anything without having the critical mass of Corsairs. You have to have that 6+ Corsairs in order to actually deal with anything. So this is really unfortunate so far, and he's going to have to wait. He's not going to be able to push out for any time soon until he gets that Corsair number up again. Meanwhile, this double robotics facility has been scouted, and we'll have to see what Kenzie's response to this is. Looks like he's just going to be turtling really hard. I love this. Going for the burrow. This is going to make it so much easier to deal with the Reavers coming in, because they're not going to have observers, not for a while. So you just research the burrow early on, and whenever the Reavers try to get in, all you do is just burrow, and then you don't have to worry about running them away or doing all kinds of crazy micro. You just burrow. Meanwhile, he's going to be putting up some spore colonies. That's a very smart idea. Just put up spore colonies. Just have really well-placed Hydralisks around the map to watch out for these drop plays. But we're still not enough Corsairs to move out right now. And did he forget to make a Corsair? Was he supply blocked? Because he's still only sitting on 4 Corsairs. And there's nothing here. He's going to try to take this 4th base, which is a little bit surprising to do. Maybe this is a metagame choice off the back of his opponent scouting the Corsair Reaver, but he is going to be having the Nexus plus cannons already up, but there's nothing here to defend. There's a couple of a couple of Reavers that might be able to get some damage in, but as long as Kenzie spreads his units really nicely and snipes this Reaver, he can definitely break this base. He's killed off one of the Reavers, and he's going to kill off a lot of these Zealots. He needs to split his units. Oh, those were big Scarab hits. That was... Oh, God. Oh, is that... Oh, my God! That... That sucks so much. So, those are some hero Scarab hits. for right now, it looks like Nalra's actually going to be stabilizing and getting control of this third base. And a little bit unfortunate that Kenzie wasn't able to break that right there, but he's going to be continuing to make a ton of these Hydras and break down the front door if possible. But like I said earlier, it's not that good to use the Hydralisk on this map because there's so many tight chokes. It's easily defendable. But I love this play, going for the drops. So it allows them to continue going into this this crazy strong Hydralisk play. But he's also going to have the ability to jump into the bases if he wants. Sniping off at least 2 of those Corsairs is really nice. He did lose a lot of Hydralisk in the process, but killing off these Corsairs, killing off these Reavers, I don't know why I keep calling them Corsairs, killing off the Reavers and preventing them from ever reaching a critical mass of 4+ is really, really nice for allowing him to stay ahead in this game and stay on the Hydralisk Hydra drop play. I would really like him to just go ahead and send Hydralisk out, but it looks like he's trying to be careful. He wants to look for this drop that he knows is incoming. Luckily, he does have the burrow, so it's unlikely that this will get a ton of damage in, but it's actually just going to be a Dark Templar. It's not going to be the Reavers. Very smart play to leave the Reavers at home to defend and just use the Dark Templar to drop, but easily cleaned up by Kenzie. Kenzie's just on top of it. This is by far the best game that we've seen today. Lurkers coming out as well. Definitely the best foreigner that we've seen so far. Hopefully DeWalt will impress me in the next game as well. So, and oh god, I love it. Burrowed Zerglings on the expansions. I love it, man. This is why you get Burrow. Burrow is the best upgrade in the game, and nobody uses it. And this Burrowling over here, and this is the Burrowling that spotted the drop play earlier. Oh god, I love Burrow, man. I love it so much. And is this Corsair gonna get sniped? It is gonna get sniped. Luckily, he does scout out all these Overlords, so he's gonna be expecting a drop coming in right here, and automatically throws down more cannons, gets a shuttle in position to deal with any sort of drop play. So you can tell that was like a very small moment of panic. You're like, oh, I just lost my Corsair. Wait, is that 10 Overlords? Wait, why are they all here? Oh crap, there's a drop, but easily cleaned up, not a big deal. And this is the point in the game where you really just need to focus entirely on drones and getting that tech out as the Zerg player. You can't be focusing too much on continuing to build Hydras, continuing to build Lings. Mostly you just want to make sure you get this 4th base saturated, you get your hive up, and you get tons of Lurkers out on the map. At this point, honestly, Zerg, usually, the old way that Zerg used to do this is just go straight into the really heavy Lurker Ling tech. But I'm not sure. Let's see, what are the upgrades on these Lings right now? They're currently at 0-0. That's horrible. Those are horrible upgrades. So you really can't go for the Ling heavy style. You really have to mix in more of these Hydralisks. You can't go for the crazy 2/2 adrenal glands god tier Lings. But really nice trap set up here with these Lurkers. It's going to prevent any sort of units from actually getting up here. And even a Reaver drop's not going to be able to clean this up. And that is the 4th base being denied from Nalra. So Nalra's in a bit of a tricky position because he has a lot of Reavers. Holy crap. He has 5 Reavers, at least 5 Reavers. Does he still have that shuttle with the Reaver? There's a DT out there. There was a shuttle somewhere. Did that shuttle go down? Did I miss a drop? Am I a horrible observer, guys? But he's got a lot of these Reavers. He's got a lot of the Templars, and right now he's going to be adding on a ton of gateways and just trying to pump out as many Dragoons and Zealots as possible to try to break this blockade. But the problem is, during this time, it's allowing Zerg to get these upgrades. I would love to see the triple Evo Chamber, honestly, because he's that far ahead. But we're getting up to Hive. The Defiler Mound's going down. The upgrades are coming in. And at this point, all Kenzie needs to do is just sit back and make sure that the Protoss player doesn't break out very easily. I'd love to see just one burrowed unit come over here and just to make sure that no units try to come around and flank or anything like that. But This is well played so far, just setting up this really nice contain, and this is such a beautiful strat coming out from Kinsey, just knowing that his opponent, it's going to be almost impossible to break down this very tiny ramp when you can just die to a gigantic concave over here. So as long as he gets control of this high ground, he basically wins the game. That's basically the game plan here. Nara might try to start cleaning this up with storms, but cleaning up lurkers with storm takes a long time, especially with this many lurkers and as well placed as they are. So in the meantime, it's just up to Nara to, he's basically just looking to max out as soon as possible. And he's got a lot of supply. He's up to 187. He's going to be closing in on that 100 supply pretty soon. And this is why I say you need the burrowed lurker, or the burrowed ling over here. It just gives you so much information. I think he saw that. I really hope he saw that. If he doesn't know that this is coming, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. But, oh, he did. He definitely saw it. So the bird hydralist over here, trying to be cute. He needs to be careful about not losing those overlords. And looks like this is coming in right now. There isn't really a lot to defend this, though, so I'm a little bit worried about his chances of being able to actually defend this. Big storms coming down on the mineral line. It's going to kill off a lot of those drones, and the economy of Kinsey just immediately shattered with one fell swoop. Luckily, I think he is going to be able to finish off these zealots and save this base, but he's going to have to spend a lot of time rebuilding drones, and that's very obnoxious to do. He's taking this base over here, which is very intelligent, but I think it's going to get scattered out pretty soon. But that was really scary for Kinsey for a second, but he, very good damage control, managed to send just enough units over there to deal with it. And this base is going to get cleaned up. He's going to have to cancel that, unfortunately. But, I mean, there's a really big go switch right now. There's a huge go switch where Kinsey can honestly just send all of his units down to that quadrant on the map and pick off all these zealots. Very smart, immediately moving all his units. See this gigantic line. They're going to be over here in time to defend the space. Some zealots trying to come across the big ramp. They're going to get killed by a ton of hydros over here. And a few more units trying to push up this ramp. But hydros are pretty good on top of a ramp. Pretty damn good, not going to lie. Another drop coming in. This has got a lot of High Templar in it. Surprising amount of High Templar. It looks like we're going to be going for big economic damage, but it's been scattered out. Kinsey should know exactly what's coming. If he pulls his drone on time, is he going to pull his drones? He lost a couple, but that honestly wasn't that good of a storm drop. So unfortunately, not a lot of drones get taken down, and this shuttle is going to run directly into some hydros. That was terrifying for a second, but oh, he actually loses it. He didn't get to the high ground in time. Holy crap. But yeah, Kinsey is in complete control of this game. Another Zealot force is going to try to wrap around here and try to break him. But this is kind of like the situation that we saw in the last game with True Touch, but backwards. It's Protoss sitting on 3 bases, just trying to send units and get damage done wherever possible. But he can't take a fourth, and he's in a lot of trouble if he continues to trade with a Zerg that's on 4 to 5 bases with only 3 base Protoss. Eventually he is going to mine out and he is going to die. This is exactly the sort of position you want to be in Zerg, where you just have complete map control, complete vision, and all you have to do is stop your opponent from expanding to a 4th. This is so smart. And he even the probe tries to kill off the Ling, but the Ling just unburrows and kills the probe. That's so beautiful. Such smart play from Kinsey. Just all over the place this game, man. I'm really impressed. I don't know who Kinsey is. I'm still getting to know the foreigner community, and really the Brew War community in general. But I'm really impressed by Kinsey's play in this game. If this is how well Kinsey plays all the time, I would love to watch the Zerg player play on stream. And again, just on top of it, he knows exactly where his opponent's going to be coming out and has units in position. Luckily, he finally has some of those upgrades coming in for those Lings, plus the Adrenal Gland, so he's going to be able to switch to more of a Lurker Ling Defiler style. And this is just terrifyingly strong against Gateway units. The only Gateway units I think that actually do well against Lurker Ling Defiler are like Archons and High Templar. That's pretty much it. Everything else, like Zealots and the Dragoons, just get completely destroyed by that composition. It's insane. But lots of Archons out right now. 4 Archons is quite a bit, and this army is slowly dwindling. I honestly don't know why he hasn't moved out with some of these Reavers. It looks like he's continually trying to push with just more mobile army, but here are the Reavers in the dropships. They're going to be able to do some damage and take this high ground position. And as we were talking about earlier, this is a real power position on this particular map because it gives you complete control over that low ground area on both sides as well. But just Zerg units streaming in from every direction, and wow, that was a really good storm. Picked off a lot of those Hydralisks. So this is actually looking a little bit more dire, but a couple of these observers get sniped. This is really the point in the game where, as a Zerg player, you really need to prioritize making Scourge and killing off these observers. If you can kill off these observers, 1 or 2 lurkers can hold everything. And this is actually looking a little bit dire for Kenzie. He lost a lot of units in that exchange. He's got a lot of units over here. They're going to be able to slow down this push quite a bit, but there's way too many of these zealots, and they're pushing this back. Another wave of reinforcements is going to be able to push this back a little bit more, but these units pushing into the natural now, they're going to be able to kill off the sunken and maybe even push into the main. Take a long time to clean up. What's the re-macro like behind that? Not that scary, honestly. There's a couple of units moving across the map, but they're going to be flying. They're going to be walking directly over a couple of lurkers, so those zealots end up taking a lot more damage than they should. And Kenzie already has his 5th base up. He honestly should be looking to take the 6th base over here. This base still isn't mined up, so it's actually not all that great right now. And Kenzie absorbing that blow really nicely. For a second there, he was actually down up to 50 supplies, so it was looking pretty dangerous. But Kenzie pulling it back pretty nicely. What is this guy doing? What are you doing, bro? What are you doing? That was like one of the campaign High Templar. You know what I'm talking about? Where the campaign High Templar like walk towards your army like really slowly, and you're like, what is this clown doing? And then it storms like a big group of your army that like you keep in the back of your base. You're like, oh god, I hate this game. But no storm there. It was just a suicide High Templar, unfortunately. And finally, these upgrades are coming in for these Lings. 2-2 Lings, 2-2 Cracklings are insane versus Protoss late game. But really good storms coming out so far. It's been able to kill off quite a bit of these Zerg units, but the reinforcements are just too strong. Eventually, this is going to be pushed back, and the 5th base has been saved for right now. A couple more storms on the retreat, but there's almost no more energy left on these High Templar. Nalra is really trying to play for this 4th base, just make sure that he definitely gets that down. But again, we find ourselves in the same situation where you know, Protoss may have gotten this base. He's mined out and all the rest of his bases, so literally every single probe is at this base right now. That's basically every single probe that he owns is mining right here because that's his only mining base. Meanwhile, Zerg, the natural still hasn't even mined out completely yet. It's about to mine out, but it's still pretty healthy compared to absolutely nothing, you know. Natural and main are also kind of low, but actually, maybe this game is a lot closer than I thought. I'm actually surprised at how low all of those Zerg minerals are. And this is a great time to take the 6th base down in the bottom left-hand corner, especially if Protoss really wants to defend this upper base as well. It makes it so hard for them to actually get any damage done over here. You can try some cute plays with High Templar or like Reaver drops or Zealot drops or whatever, but it's not going to happen. Wait, how did these Lings get in the base? Is this like a replay glitch? Like, why are there like 10 Lings sitting in the space? What? Maybe that was a drop that I just didn't see. Maybe that was just like a small Ling drop that I didn't see. That was bizarre. So lots of results community down here. This should be the go button to come up here, but I guess with these Reavers and the High Templar, it's just a little bit too scary. But he has a drop tech. Honestly, this is one of those things he should have been prepared for. He is going to be able to clean up all of these zealots pretty soon. So maybe this isn't a complete loss. But honestly, if you're going to expand down there, just go ahead and have your overlords in position up here. And as soon as any sort of real pressure goes on down here, you just load up and go button on top of this base, because as good as these units are for things pushing up the ramp, if you just drop on top of them, they are not that great. So Don't like that play as much, but looks like both players are slowly running out of steam. You can tell the economy is starting to be pretty rough for both players. Kinsey really needs to transfer all the drones. Okay, good, he's doing it. So all the drones are being transferred to this one healthy base versus one healthy base of the Protoss player. Maybe that Kinsey is just a little bit afraid of going all in on this fourth base, even because he really doesn't want to lose this lower base. But I think at this point, if you just cut off the Protoss mining, you're in good shape because you don't actually have to do anything. You kill off this, and then you have lurkers. You can prevent any kind of pushes up there for almost forever. And just wait for your economic advantage to pay off. You don't have to attack after that. But you may just be worried that he'll lose too much. And it's just pure Zealots now. Pure Zealot plus High Templar coming out from Nara. And Nara is pretty much completely mined out. So I don't think this game is going to go on much longer because this is not a winning composition versus what Zerg has right now. And just lurkers all over the place. Kinsey doing a perfect job of just setting up an impenetrable wall. If Protoss player had a little bit more to work with, then maybe he'd be able to break this. But without it, he threw away so many Zealots down there. He's trying to kill off that hatchery, and all those Zealots died. So we're in a situation where Protoss is down to 126 supply. Oh, excuse me. Versus maxed out with much better units, with Defilers, with 3/3 cracklings, lurkers. This is impossible to actually break. So I think what we're going to see is just a gigantic stalemate as both players just mine out, and then it's just going to be up to Kinsey to actually break a base. At this point, he can honestly just pick up stuff and drop it, and he'd be in pretty good shape. But looks like Nara is going to be relying heavily on just being really smart with these Reavers and these High Templar. But I think it's a mistake to warp an Archon right now, especially since you get so much more value off of these storms. But he's going to lose that Archon, and he shouldn't be warping another Archon. This is a huge mistake. This point in the game, when you're low econ, you're relying entirely on your energy. As a StarCraft player, I know stupid late game scenarios pretty well, where people are just maxed out all the time. You're relying heavily on the cost efficiency of energy versus damage. So like something like storms are very late game cost efficient. Dark Archons are also amazingly late game cost efficient, because if you can just maelstrom a small group of units, then you just win really well. They're not that cost efficient, so you don't usually want to make them in high econ situations where you could be making much better units, but at the same time they're much better. Meanwhile, these Reavers are not very they're not very efficient in terms of what they do in the late game. When you're in low econ, you really can't be spending 25 minerals per Scarab to pick off things. It's nice because he's one-shotting these lurkers, so he is making some headway in that regard. But big push coming into the space as soon as all the units get out of position, and that's going to be able to snipe some units over here. Unfortunately, a couple storms managed to actually clean that up pretty nicely. But another big attack coming in right here, and this may have been a mistake running in with all these lurkers with 0 lings. Unsupported lurkers are really not that good. I know you probably knew this, but surprise, that's the truth. And another thing is lurkers also Defiler is very cost efficient in these situations, because Plague is amazingly energy efficient. And a lot of units coming down for Zerg. This is a very cost-inefficient trade. Considering how well it could have been handled, this is a bit of a disappointment, but he is going to finally be able to clean up all of the Reavers. There are no more Reavers left, and honestly, at this point, you just sit back as a Zerg player and remacro, but he's going to continue to stream in units, try to kill things off. I don't think it's necessarily needed. All the Reavers are down. Your opponent's relying... Sorry, there's one more Reaver left. I was wrong. But you're relying entirely off of just Zealot Archon. That's not going to work. All of the drop defenses are in pretty good spaces. There's a small quarter through this area down here. But drop defenses are really, really good for Kenzie. There's not really anything that Protoss can do at this point. That was a last-ditch attempt to try to break the Zerg and get them to trade inefficiently. And Kenzie did trade really inefficiently. That was actually really bad overall. But it honestly doesn't matter because there's way too much stuff here and not the right economy for it. And there's the GG, Nara giving out. Kenzie giving Team Fat their first win in the series. And really well played by Kenzie overall. I'm really impressed. So that was really nicely done. We're going to take a short break. I'm going to get some water. And then we're going to go into the fourth game of the series. We'll see if Team Fat can bring it back or if they're going to stay at 0-2. So see you guys right after the break. Thanks for tuning in. See you soon. Guys, please tell me I wasn't muted that entire game. Please tell me that that wasn't the case. All right, we're back. I think my desktop audio was muted that entire game. So, sorry about not having in-game sounds or anything like that. That should have been happening. I just screwed up as I was transitioning. So, a little bit unfortunate there, but I hope you guys enjoyed the cast nonetheless. Luckily, the VODs will actually have it because the VODs are from my perspective. So, actually, no, I guess they won't. Never mind. Ignore me. Anyways, we're going to be going on to Game 4. This is going to be Gorosh versus DeWalt. We'll see if DeWalt can pull back for Team Fat and become an all-star. Alright, we're going to be on Overwatch. In the bottom left-hand corner, the orange Zerg. That is going to be Gorosh. And in the top left, the only hope for the Foreigner team to actually win out the series and win the last week, it is going to be DeWalt, the Russian Protoss player. DeWalt, the man. DeWalt definitely struggled in earlier stages of the tournament. I think his first week was not very good. I think he was having some lag issues or something like that. But he's definitely played a lot more... a lot better after that, and definitely carried his team to victory in a couple of other games. I mean, I guess technically they didn't win, but he's played well since then. Trust me, okay? Trust me. I'm good with the words, I promise. This is what broadcasters do. They say words until they make sense. So early scouts coming out from both players. I like Lucio. Oh, you're the worst then. For everyone who plays Overwatch, if you're like a Lucio main, that means A, that you're a support main, because there are no other supports, and also that you have no talent. Okay? Lucio is like the most boring hero in the world. Like, all you do is just run around and boot things. I'm really bad at first-person shooters, but I was pretty good at Lucio because you don't actually have to do anything with Lucio. Pretty nice. All the Overwatch players in this chat are gonna start hating on me pretty soon. Sorry, it's true. At least you're not a Hanzo main, I guess. Forge Fast Expand coming out from DeWalt. We're not gonna see that early Zealot aggression. And this drone actually getting caught on the ramp a little bit, trying to go after that drone. Honestly, it probably could have made it down here in time to start a hatchery, but was too focused on trying to attack the probe. The one advantage, though, to actually doing this much damage to the probe early on is it makes it a lot easier to clean up with Lings, because normally you have this problem with Lings where you're trying to chase down the probe and then like you're almost about to kill it and then it doesn't die and you're like, kill myself, I hate this game. It's so obnoxious to deal with, but that's not going to be, hopefully that's not going to be the case here for Gorosh. See if he has to deal with that sort of annoyingness going on. While playing it safe, he's going to be going for the early cannon, not going to be going too crazy, going for the Nexus first or a gateway or anything like that. So, just pretty standard stuff. We're just going to be winding down the game as we're moving forward. And so here's the third base. Again, another close base. This is a theme that we've definitely been seeing in this series so far, is a lot of Zerg players are preferring to go for that closer third base and just go for a lot of early aggression. But it's definitely, it's paid off in some places and not done so well at others. Against the sort of play that we saw from Nara in last game, where you go for the super heavy Corsair Reaver play, it's obviously beneficial to have your bases close together. If you have your bases farther apart, it's much more difficult to deal with the Corsair Reaver flying everywhere. You have two big points of defense that you have to deal with and not enough Hydras to deal with it. But in this particular case, it's probably going to be pretty good. Any sort of ground army, having further away bases is a little bit nicer, because if the ground army goes to one base, then you just kind of turtle really, really hard on that base with good SimCity and suck-ins and everything. And then you just flank with the other half of your army and then you just crush it. It's really easy to do. But you can't do that as well when all your bases are close together as the Zerg. Anyhow, this all just goes to say that depending on how your Zerg opponent expands as a Protoss player, you should probably adapt your playstyle and maybe play a little bit differently, try different things, not necessarily go for the same strategy every single game. So Lair coming out as well as the Zergling speed. We're probably going to be seeing that Spire come down shortly afterwards, right there. I'm calling it right now. It's going to go down right there. Okay, I was wrong. It's right there. I was close. I was close. And that's honestly a smart place to put it. Just put it behind the mineral line, so you don't have to deal with Zealots getting back here or anything funky like that. It's also a little bit harder to scout for Corsairs. Getting in the danger zone of being picked off by hatching Scourge and things like that. But Gorosh, looking around the map, he's going to be scouting out with these Lings. Meanwhile, in our Protoss Heroes base, we have the +1 coming out, as well as some of these Corsairs. Going to be going for the +1 Corsair. This is another thing that we've seen throughout. Not a lot of... this is pretty much the standard for Protoss players now. They pretty much always go for this +1 and go for about 5 to 6 Corsairs. There's a time period where Protoss players would focus on getting like 3 to 4 Corsairs, maybe even less, and just try to get their gateways and the Zealot attack out a little bit faster. But most Protoss players these days are focusing more on the long term and getting out plenty of Corsairs early on, getting that +1 just makes it much easier to deal with anything that the Zerg player can throw at you. It makes it a lot easier to kill off the Scourge. I believe with +1 you kill off Scourge in 2 hits or 3 hits with the Corsair. I don't really know. Let's see, it's 5, and then I think it allows you to one-shot the Corsair or Scourge. 25, so you have 5. It should do it anyway. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I don't remember why +1 is so important in this case. If chat wants to let me know, that'd be awesome. +1 attack coming along as well. But this just plays really well towards the late game because you have the Corsair, so you can deal with any sort of air shenaniganry, and you can also pick off Overlords really easily. It's just a really good long-term build that allows you to get lots of upgrades up instead of focusing on trying to do a lot of damage. So Storm should be started fairly shortly. I wonder if he's actually going to build his Templar before. He's going to go for the Dark Templar first, just to put on some pressure. And here comes the first couple of speed lots. They're just going to run straight in. And this is actually a really nice way of doing it. He's going to get on top of these links and actually on top of the Sunken Colony as well. He's going to kill off the Sunken Colony, which is a little bit annoying. This is eventually going to get cleaned up with these units, but he's going to lose a lot in the process. He lost a lot of units and may even lose some of these drones if he's not careful. So pretty good attack from DeWalt so far. I actually think that was well worth it. There's like 5 or 6 zealots, but it did a lot of damage. It definitely slowed down the Zerg economy a lot by having to pull stuff off the line. You lose the Sunken Colony, so you have to remake it. You have to remake it later anyway, so you might as well just remake it now. And it's well worth it overall. First Corsair is going to come in, and they're just going to try to pick off these Overlords. It may just be that +1 is really good for killing Overlords. So you get like 5 or 6 plus Corsairs. I could be wrong. So smart play so far from these Corsairs. Actually, the Spore Colony is going to go down instead of a Sunken Colony. So Gurish doesn't feel under any threat on the ground right now. The first couple of DTs were pushed away pretty heavily. Normally, I've heard lots of different arguments about this. So if your first 2 DTs don't get any damage done, what do you do to follow up? Do you just try to go for a follow-up attack where you just group all of your Corsairs together and try to snipe an Overlord and try to kill off a base with these? Or do you just immediately morph a Dark Archon and try to get up an early Maelstrom? Like, which do you go for? And most typically people will say just go for the attack, or just save the DTs to control the map. You can control expansions by sending them over here, and you can patrol them in different places, and it just allows you more map control. But at the same time, you don't get the team fight control that you would like. The team fight control, oh god, I just tossed in a MOBA term, just ignore me. You don't get the fight control that you normally would with Maelstrom or whatever, but you do lose out, but you gain that extra metals that you would spend on Maelstrom and have a little bit more back control. And a couple units, unfortunately, getting picked up right here. These Zealots may actually be able to hold off long enough for this Archon to morph, but no, it looks like the Archon's going to be going down too, unfortunately. And that was really unfortunate. I wonder where the storms are. There was one storm that did a little bit of damage, but not a lot of units out for DeWalt right now. He's doing what he can with limited units, and he is going to be able to get this third base up eventually. But that was a pretty decent attack by Gurish. He managed to get a little bit of damage done. You can see, though, he's definitely keeping some units back. He's afraid of any sort of DT or Zealot run-bys. He doesn't have that Sunken in his natural anymore, so he has to always keep some units here just in case something walks in, even if it's one DT that can be disastrous for you as a Zerg player. While DeWalt's, he's trying to get up a couple more storms. He really needs a couple more storms for these next attacks that are coming in. These Hydras being able to walk straight across the bridge, that should never, ever, ever happen. And the first couple of Lurkers are already out. And there are no observers, so relying entirely on just storms to clear out these Lurkers, it's going to be pretty rough. Another High Templar goes down. You really can't be losing High Templars at this rate. or else you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And Goresh, decisively in the lead, decides to just go ahead and take an early fourth base in the forward position. That's going to allow him to put a lot more pressure on moving forward into this game. And this is one of those points where you're asking yourself, where is that DT? Why don't I have a DT here? If we had a DT here, all of this would actually just be pushed away immediately, because as far as I know, there's no Overlord speed. There's no Overlords nearby. So right now, you're just trying to hold it with pure Zealots versus Lurker Hydra. It's not going to happen. So a bit confused why this is happening. Here come the DTs. You're going to be able to pick off all the Zealots being annoying over there. Okay, nice job picking off all of those Lurkers. That's a really big win for DeWalt. As he's taking this third base, that's going to be a nice economic advantage for him. But the problem is he has so few storms right now. He actually overmade DTs. This is 5 DTs. You really only need 2 or 3 maybe. But going for 5 is just way too many. Now he's going to be behind on the storm count, and it's going to be a while before DeWalt's actually going to be able to move out of his base. He's going to have to rely entirely off of just sitting back and waiting for that macro to fully kick in. Meanwhile, Goresh is going hard in the paint. He's already got Hive. He's got the Adrenic Lanes upgrade on the way. His Lings don't have any upgrades quite yet, but they should be coming along. There's +1 Carapace. Not sure if he's got more upgrades going over somewhere else. There's +1 Spines. So lots of Lings. This is the Ling style that I was talking about that's kind of gone out of style, but it's Goresh definitely sees the advantage. He has a pretty good big advantage in the early game, or in the early mid game, so he's just going to go straight into the mass Lings. It's going to be pretty powerful. Once you get a good number of Lings, good number of Lurkers, and add on those Defilers, it's so difficult to actually deal with it as a Protoss player, because it's just such a scary, lightweight army. It's really easy to reinforce that it's just, you have a lot of trouble fully dealing with it. You have to constantly do this dance with your observers, make sure they don't get sniped by Scourge, etc., etc. So it's a really nice set of units, and I really like the way that he's doing it. He did lose a couple of Overlords though, and a Storm Drop coming in here. It's going to kill off a couple of drones. Not the best placed, so it's not going to be a free mineral line there. A little bit unfortunate. I heard some units being loaded off somewhere else. Okay, there it is. So DG's in the main. That's going to be really annoying. They're actually going to try to snipe the spawning pool, and this is so smart. This is what I'm talking about. It's so easy to reinforce with the Lings, but if you can't reinforce with the Lings, how do you actually hold this off? This is actually so smart right now. Where are the observers, though? He really needs the observers to get on top of this. And he used all of his storms up really early. DeWalt, you don't have any. You don't have a front line. What happened? What happened, buddy? Oh god! And the Lings are just gonna actually just chase us all the way back to the base. Still, no units really, no front line to really speak of. So a little bit unfortunate there. That was a chance where DeWalt could have gotten really far ahead, but just kind of a botched engagement there. He was lucky enough to snipe the spawning pool. So he's still in a pretty good spot. If he can push out with the next wave of Zealots and just trade with this, he's in a pretty decent spot because there's still no spawning pool up. The spawning pool has to be remade. And the first couple of Defilers are going to come up. He couldn't snipe the Defiler Mound. That's a huge loss. If DeWalt had been able to snipe that Defiler Mound, the game might have well have been over. Even with the horrible engagement that he took. But as it is, he's just going to be, both players just going to be re-macroing. Both players keeping good tabs on the corner bases, trying to make sure their opponents aren't expanding ahead of them. DeWalt's in a position where he really needs to move out on this map, get map control, and take a fourth. But the problem is all of the potential fourth bases that he would like to take are already being patrolled by Zerg units. So it's going to be difficult for him to actually get in. This Zergling Flake is going to kill off some Dragoons for free. And DeWalt really needs to pay attention to how he's positioning his units, because it really does matter at this stage in the game. He has to trade efficiently with these Zerg armies. That's not something you see that you hear very often, is you have to trade efficiently with a Zerg army. But this is the point in the game where you really have to. If you don't trade efficiently with a Zerg army, then you're actually just going to straight up die, because you're not going to have the economy to continually deal with these lings. And the longer this game goes, the more upgraded these lings get. See if +2 is on the way, as well as +1, +2 rather. +1 attacks are on the way, and +2 carapace is coming. So the longer this game goes on, once we get 3/3 lings with Adrenal Glands, that is the scary moment where just they annihilate bases, they annihilate gateway units. It's terrifying how good lings are in the late game. But more and more units coming out across, and Go Rush he's just pressing the on button, going forward, forward, forward. And DeWalt has a pretty sizable army, but the problem is he just keeps flubbing up the engagements quite a bit. And there's still some lurkers in this army. Without enough dragoons, it's going to be really difficult to actually deal with the lurkers. Like, the zealots are really great, but they're not going to be able to kill off all the lurkers that easily. And you really don't want to push up this ramp right now. This is not the play. This is not the play, DeWalt. Take it home. All right, loses some units for free there. I think that was just a little bit of miscontrol. He's gonna take the middle map Nexus, so it's gonna allow him to push a little bit more aggressively, but it's in a very open position, and he cannot lose this army. This has to be a perfect engagement, or else he's just gonna die. But units coming in from all sides, being flanked by the lurkers, more links coming down from the ramp, as well as some Hydras and another lurker, and this army is just done for. At this point, wow, he actually does manage to push this back for now and kill off. Maybe I spoke too soon. I thought these lurkers were more in range, but DeWalt did a really nice job of dancing just out of range there and killing off this space. So I take it back. DeWalt was actually, he played pretty well there. Meanwhile, the remacro is coming out from Go Rush. This is what I'm talking about. It's so easy to just remacro on Pure Ling, and it does so much damage. DeWalt just really needs to protect this base, and he'll be in good shape. Really nice job to go ahead and get this base up right now. He's got a cannon over here as well, so he is going to be able to establish this top right-hand base unless it gets taken out by a group of lings. He just needs to pay attention right now and be on top of his game 100%. If lings get into his main, if they take down this base, it's going to be absolutely hectic. Another really good play going onto these zealots. The plays this game have actually been amazing, but don't be fooled by this, DeWalt. Don't go too far out of position. Stay close to that middle base. Stay close to your natural, because you really don't want lings running into your natural right now. It's interesting that he's kept these Archons here. I don't know if this was a mistake or if these Archons are meant to be here to block off the ramp, but either way, it works out pretty nicely for him in case any sort of ling run by came in. But right now, this is looking really good for DeWalt. He's up 70 supply versus this tiny Zerg army, and this another good plague, but at some point, like, good plagues aren't really going to work. You need units. You really need to be close to max in order to deal with this. And DeWalt taking full control of this game. He's actually there were some scary moments early on, but getting this 4th base up, getting the 5th base up now, and killing off these Zerg armies cost efficiently has done quite a bit, and he's actually in a pretty solid lead right now. It's all it really takes is just sitting back. When you're ahead in StarCraft, just always sit back, relax, try to limit your opponent's expansions, and you'll always win. That's all you have to do. So when you're ahead, don't worry about trying to go in for the kill, trying to get like the easy win. Just relax. If Go Rush wants to continually pound this base with units, all you have to do is just continually replace units and defend the space. You don't have to do anything else in the entire game. This is all you have to do. Make sure you take good fights and continually reinforce. Lots of units here, which is quite annoying. Smart play with the DT plus the Observer. I really like this play. This is something we don't see that often in ZVP, is going for these late game DTs with a single Observer just to snipe things out. But lots of things going down across the map, and you can tell that Go Rush is looking really, really hard for all of these Observers. He wants to make sure that he kills off the Observers so he can move in with the lurkers. And this army is starting to get pretty sizable, but it's still pretty low in supply compared to DeWalt right now. This is, he needs to hit some money storms underneath this swarm. He's going to be able to clean up this Zerg army. Some reinforcements coming in, reinforcing Lings are going to be pretty good, but not against DTs and Zealots with Archon support. So that's going to go down, and DeWalt's saving the space right now. He's in prime position to win this game. It's looking pretty bleak for Garash. Garash still hasn't taken this space. This has more or less been an all-in attempt to break the Protoss player, but it's not happening. I don't even know if Garash knows that this base up here exists. If he did, I don't think he'd be all-inning right now. Once he sees this base, you know he's gonna be shaking his head like, oh god, I can't believe I totally ignored this. This is so bad. And right now he is 100% all in. He has to break this army right now. If he can break this army and kill both bases, he might win. But there are storms in this army for the Protoss, so with good storms, easily going to be able to clean this up and push it back. Really nice storm there is going to prevent this from being cleaned up very easily. But eventually, the Archons and everything will clean it up. Garsh continually, he's making more lurkers. He really wants to go all in on this, but he's gonna run out of money eventually. His main is mined out, his natural's mined out, his third base is mined out, his fourth base has a little bit, but he's playing against a 5-base Protoss, well, a 3 mining base Protoss, versus 1 mining base Zerg. And as a Zerg player, you don't want to be in that position. That's not gonna happen anytime soon. So many lurkers is actually insane. And here's the big team fight. Garash, he's just gonna go for it. He really doesn't even care. But with Reavers and Storms out, I don't see this happening. He's trying to actively snipe the observers and try to snipe the shuttle. He only gets 1 scourge on the shuttle, so the shuttle's gonna survive for now. And in the meanwhile, oh my god, that was a money storm. That storm just killed off 4 lurkers. That's insane. Garash just falling apart. He's just struggling to keep up with the macro, and he just wants to continually attack over and over and over. And I don't think this is going to work in the long run. This is unless some kind of miracle happens and DeWalt just completely screws up and forgets the macro for 10 minutes. It's not possible. DeWalt does lose a Reaver for free. That's never good, but more Reavers on the high ground, plenty more gateway units reinforcing, and this is just this has been a massacre. This has honestly been a Zerg massacre this game. More lurkers on the ground are going to be coming in. It's very nice engagement so far. Those lurkers got a lot of money shots, but they're going to be picked off now by that one last DT. And again, Garash is just resetting, trying to go back again, but no money. This is a problem. And even going so far as trying to do a crazy Muta switch, but is that really going to work? I mean, there are 2 Archons here. I feel like 2 Archons alone will kill this number of Mutas. Well, actually, that was really nice. That Muta was apparently really low. Okay, so apparently Garash is just going to try to style on DeWalt and try to pick off all of his High Templar and Archons, so that went way better than it should have. But that's entirely due to Garash having really good micro, and he's actually going to go into Guardians. It's the last ditch attempt to try to finally break his opponent. He's going to try to Guardians, but there are even some Corsairs left over from the early game. It's just really rough. He's gonna try to snipe off this High Templar on the back. This is smart play with these Lings, but I mean, can you afford to be trading Lings like this at this point in the game? Can you really afford to do that? The Guardians are morphed now. Ugh, excuse me. The Guardians are morphed now. They're gonna be moving across the map now to try to pick this off. There's a lot of Zealots in this army, but not a lot of AA, but still, all you need is Corsairs at this point. With this number of Corsairs, honestly, everything is fine. DeWalt's even taking this base down here, so DeWalt is 100% fine. Even if he loses this mid base, it's not the end of the world. So Archon's gonna come up and just half kill both of these, so easy peasy. he needs to watch out for these Corsairs. He needs to not do that. But the Guardians are slowly going down, and the Corsairs are able to get on top of the Guardians without a lot of Scourge being in the way. So this is nicely played, just pulling back just enough to actually deal with stuff, not going too crazy. DeWalt is slowly starting to pull ahead. Actually, I mean, he's not even slowly starting to pull ahead. He's just been ahead. He's always been ahead, and there's a lot of lanes here still. There's still a lot of ways this could go wrong, but at the same time, in this position as DeWalt, like, you have 3 bases up on your opponent. You have 3 mining bases versus 1, and you have the superior army composition. So you don't see how you can screw this up. And likely, Gorush will be coming out pretty soon. I think once he loses all of these, this last Guardian, he's probably just going to call it quits, because it's never going to happen. Maybe we'll go for a last-ditch attempt to try to go in here, but I don't know. I would have liked to see some more drops coming in from DeWalt, but this whole time he's just been mostly focused on defending, and huge wraparound from tons and tons of Zealots, leaving his base almost completely undefended. I wonder if he's just going to actually try to get into this base. A lot of these High Temp are out of position, but a good Storm is going to clean up all of those Zerg units. It's actually insane how good those Storms were. And units getting into this 3rd base, including some Reavers, being able to kill off all the drones without splash damage. And that's going to be GG. There's no way that Gorush can actually come back from this. He's going to try to snipe these Reavers, but that's it. There goes well won. GG. DeWalt bringing the series to a 2-2. We are going to go to a Game 5 ace match. Oh gosh, that was intense. Alright, one more short break. My voice is killing it. I am not used to casting for this long. But we're going to go to a short 1.5 minute break, and we'll be back for the ace match of Fat versus Ajae. Stay tuned. Alright, welcome back. We are going to the ace match of Fat versus Ajae. Get hyped! Luckily, this time I remembered to turn my desktop audio back on, so there's our music. We're good to go. We're going to be jumping straight into it. The last game is going to be on Sniper Ridge. A little bit of an older map. Looking forward to this. Let's see if Team Fat can come back and win the last week and tie it up 2-2 overall. Really looking forward to this. All right, jumping into the game. In the top right-hand corner, the final hope for Team Fat, the All-Star. It all comes down to this. Eon Zerg, can you win this game? And in the bottom left-hand corner, the almost undefeated player on Team Ajae, it is Firebat Hero. I believe Firebat Hero lost in week 3. But other than that, Firebat Hero has been looking very strong versus Team Fat. So we'll have to see how well he can actually play against Yeonzerg. Yeonzerg definitely, I would say this is one of his weaker matchups from what I've seen from Fat versus Ajae. He always tends to struggle a little bit against turns. Just getting up that third base is, it's usually getting up the third base and the fourth base is quite difficult for Yeonzerg. I mean, it's difficult for every Zerg player, but I've noticed in particular he struggles with it. Someone in chat says they should have sent out DeWalt for the ace match. It's quite possible that DeWalt may have done a little bit better. I think DeWalt actually played an ace match in week 2 or 3 and did pretty well. But in this case, it's going to be Yeonzerg. The big thing to note, so this is Sniper Ridge. If you remember correctly, with Sniper Ridge, we have these ridges that run down area and run across as well. So basically, this is kind of looks like a swastika. A lot of people say it looks like a swastika. Doesn't really matter what it looks like. The point is these ridges are very important in terms of holding high ground vision and having control over the map. And it creates a lot of really interesting scenarios in this particular matchup, just because you have a lot of that back and forth between tanks and lurkers. You have that tank lurker push-pull war. So, you know, tanks will come up and siege up, and the lurkers will unburrow and kind of move back, and then burrow again. Tanks will unsiege and move forward, etc. So you have that beautiful dance that goes on, and with these ridges, it's super important because you get that high ground advantage. You also have more vision as well. Bio can't just walk up these ramps. Bio almost always has to scan walking up these ramps in case there's the chance of some hold position lurkers or anything like that. It also makes it very interesting for Ling versus Marine Micro early on, because you can actually sit with a couple of Lings sitting on top of this ridge, and if Marines walk up here, you can easily surround them and kill them. So lots of really cool stuff that has to do with these ridges. I really like this map. It's one of the more interesting ones in my opinion. But it's like Yeonzerg is not going to be going for that triple hatch. Oh, sorry, never mind. It's a faraway triple hatch. Ignore me. So it is going to be the triple hatch build. A little bit surprising he built the third hatch outside of his base instead of inside. So it's going to be a little bit harder to defend this location, but knowing Yeonzerg, he might actually just go for that Ling heavy style and use his APM to his advantage. But Firebat Hero pushing across the map early on, he's going to try to force out a couple of extra Lings early on. 1 or 2 SCVs were killed off there. This actually happened to hit at just the right time when an Overlord was building. So Yeonzerg doesn't have the Lings that he would like to have at this particular moment in time. He can't lose this Overlord though. He honestly needs to pull the drones with this and just go for it. If he loses this Overlord, that's way worse than losing 2 or 3 drones. Because he's going to be supply blocked later on. So I'm not sure about that. But Firebat Hero does back off. Looks like Firebat Hero is just going to be walking back across the map. And these Lings searching out for the Marines, but probably not going to be able to do anything against that right now. We do see the double barracks build coming out from Firebat Hero. He's going to be wanting to maybe hit a pre-mutalist timing. So far, it's not looking great for Yeonzerg. I think he's nervous. Maybe this is just, you know, being in the ace match on the final week. You know, there's a lot of pressure on you. The difference between this is like that extra, what is it, like 100? It's like 130 if you win, 80 if you lose, or something, or 120, 80. So it's that extra like $40. You know, it's a 50% increase from 80. It's a lot to ride on, okay? And also, you know, of course, the foreigner pride. Being able to go 2-2 in the series versus Koreans would be amazing, but losing another Overlord there, that's so brutal. He's going to be able to get a couple of Lings into them, maybe not. He's going to just try to attack before the bunker's done. This is the Ling attack I was talking about, but I'm not sure that this was actually worth it. He's going to be able to kill off quite a few of these Marines, and a couple more Lings getting into the main, so maybe possibly it's worth it, but he lost a lot in the process, and continuing to make a lot of Lings, this may have been an overcommitment to Lings, because now he's going to be really far behind in the drones. Third base has 0 drones. This is his drone count. This is his drone count right now. What is this, like 8 plus 5-ish? Like 15, maybe 20 drones max. Like, ugh. That's not where you want to be. I think it was an overcommitment to Zerglings. The first attack that I said was maybe a little bit questionable may have actually paid off. I think that actually you could definitely make an argument for that paying off, but to follow up with another subgroup of Lings is just, it's insanity. You end up losing so much off the back of that, and maybe Jan Zerg was just hoping that he could break the front and win the game, especially maybe he was just taking the risk after he lost that Overlord. But I mean, in an important game such as this, like, you can't just make those crazy flippant decisions. You have to say, all right, do I actually have a kill timing here? And the answer is clearly no, you don't have a kill timing. You just lost an Overlord. Just relax, calm down, and take it slow. Just play perfectly for the rest of the game, but don't take crazy chances. Like, you do have to take chances, but not crazy chances. And this is another one of those crazy chances that he is going to be taking. He's going to be building Mutalisk without any static defense at all, so he's relying entirely on the Mutalisk micro coming out. Loses all the drones at the third base. He didn't pull them early enough because he didn't have any vision, because he didn't have any of those Lings out, and he just lost another Mutalisk for free. The Mutalisk micro is pretty good so far overall. He is eventually going to be able to clean this up, but at what price? You end up losing so many units. He lost so many of those Zerglings earlier on. He lost all the drones in that base, and it's looking really bad for Jan Zerg. I really want to hype this up. I really want to be excited, but Jan Zerg is as dead as he can be, and I'm not sure exactly what that was. I guess Firebat here is just trying to scout or be annoying with these Marines. I don't know. Honestly, at this point, he can do whatever he wants. Firebat here, all he has to do is build these missile turrets back home, macro up, and he's actually going to be going into the SK Terran. So we are going to be seeing that double starport. Probably going to be going for 2 to 4 science vessels, and then just non-stealth drop ships to drop Jan Zerg to death. The Zerg hatchery is quite low. Oh, it looks like a bit of a misclick there from Jan Zerg. Just everything going wrong for Jan. Everything going wrong. And another subgroup moving across the map. There's a couple of Mutalisks and Lings to deal with this, but they're not going to be able to actually kill this off. Like, unless you're Jaedong and you're like a god and you can somehow kill everything with one group of Mutalisks, it's not going to happen in this case. And Firebat here is doing a really good job of keeping all this stuff really clumped up. He's not spreading it out. He's not moving in lines as much. But Jan Zerg finds a small opportunity to kill off a couple units, but a little bit of miss micro. He's going to lose a Mutalisk there for free, and still nothing mining from this extractor right now. Hopefully, we're going to see some lurkers coming out soon, because without lurkers, he is as dead can possibly be. Especially since all this Muta Micro is designed to make sure that he can get the lurkers out. If he doesn't have lurkers out, then this Mutalist Micro actually counts for absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, Firebat here, just sitting back at home, he's macroing up, actually going up to 6 barracks. And the first 2 Science Vessels are going to be coming out. We're going to have to see if he goes for the dropships next, or if he's going to continue making Science Vessels. So we'll keep an eye on that and come back into it in just a bit. Meanwhile, Lurker research only just started right now, and still no Hydralisk on the way. Well, one Hydralisk. Maybe a second one on top of this one. I can't click on the other egg. Continuing to try to micro with these Mutals, but look how many units there are. They could honestly just walk across the map. You can't stop this with just Ling Muta. It's just not gonna happen. The Slorm says Eon is so far behind that it is impossible for him to win. It's not impossible, it's improbable. It's highly improbable. it would, like, Firebat Hero would need to walk across the map and then get confused and walk back to his base and then walk back again and then walk all of his units into Lurkers. That's how Eon Zerg could win this game, but Lurkers are still morphing and there's already units knocking on his front door. He's even got the Science Vessel, so Science Vessel, the Irradiate goes down on these Mutalisks. Not a very good split, and a lot of damage done on those Mutalisks. It's just, there's too much right now. One of the Lurkers goes down, both the Lurkers go down. There's the Static D. There's the GG. A little bit unfortunate for Eon Zerg. Just not the best game for him. Overall, the Foreigners did not play their best game, but DeWalt and Kinsey were both quite impressive in that series overall. But GG's to Team Ajae. They take the final week 3-2. But hey, let's look back. Let's take a retrospective real quick. Let's hold on. I can actually pull this up, and we can just look at this. Just look at this, guys, because I think it's important to know that despite the fact that it should have been like super mega ultra one-sided, it wasn't, and I think that's worth talking about, right? So let me get my face on here so you can see my face. So, like, first of all, let's talk about this. Our Foreigner versus Korean. Normally, we would say Foreigner versus Korean. Korean always wins, and it's a hopeless, horrible thing. I think when this match was announced, a lot of people were just expecting the Foreigners to get absolutely smashed. But they came right out of the gates with the 3-2, okay? Right out of the gates with the 3-2, and actually won the first match. And although they did get smashed pretty hard in the second match, the last two matches were both 3-2 in favor of Ajae. They were both incredibly close. And, I mean, this is Ajae is the over the hill players, but still, I mean, that's incredible. It's incredible that we've actually managed to match that level more or less, and still come this close to winning every single week. So really proud of all of our Foreigners. Give all of our Foreigners a big hand. Bonnet DeWalt, Koget, Dandy. I don't know if Dandy played at all. I feel like Koget played one game. Apparently I'm wrong. True Touch and Eon Zerg, as well as Kenzie and any others that played. Give them all a big hand, big round of applause. You guys all did great, and thanks to all the people on Team Ajae that that helped us out and decided to do this with us. It's all it's been a really great tournament. Yeah, it's 120-80 is the split. And also, huge thanks to Bisu Dagger, huge thanks to Lamada as well for putting this whole tournament together. Without them, this wouldn't have been possible. Lamada getting in touch with all of the Koreans and getting this together. Bisu Dagger funding most of this, originally funding this out of pocket. Thanks to all the backers from Fat vs. Ajae, everyone who donated to the Matcherino. You guys did an amazing job raising $800. I honestly didn't think we were going to do that, because when I checked, we were at like 300, and that was like into week 3, and I was like, yeah, this isn't going to happen. But we pulled together and we got the money, so all of the players got paid, and that's super exciting. I'm so proud of everyone who worked together to make this happen, and I'm really glad that you guys watched. So that's going to be all for today. I don't know if we're going to be doing anything like this in the future, but definitely keep an ear to the ground. Bisudagger may announce something in the future. He's certainly busy with his baby, but when he gets the chance to get back on the horse and start leading the charge again, I'm sure we'll be able to see a couple more tournaments for him. So thank you all for watching, and I hope you guys all have an excellent day. See you later.